heresy?
Yeah, we've
Bro,
talked about it.
the premise of the question you just asked, it's on a false premise, my guy. We don't affirm a singular mind the way you're entailing it. So when you
So
say
you affirm,
mind, hang
you
on.
affirm secret
When you
knowledge,
say
I
mind,
believe.
you say, are you? Oh my gosh. When you say
I'm
mind,
asking
are
you.
you trying to say that we only affirm one set of intellect, one intellect?
Okay. So Jesus, by
Can you answer
definition,
my question,
right? Yes,
please?
yes. So
Okay,
Jesus,
that's not what we
you
affirm. That's already a false premise.
so you believe Jesus has two sets of knowledge, right? That are mutually exclusive to one another. One in one attributation to one set of knowledge, let's say human nature, he is limited. He does not know specific things, right? And at the same time, he has knowledge of things that he doesn't have within his human nature, and this is predicated upon his one mind, correct?
No, that's not how we affirm it, Abdulaeez. I explained this to you earlier.
Okay,
The way
how?
hang on. I'm talking to Abdulaeez. The way we affirm the two sets of intellect, right? One of them is predicated specifically on the hypostasis. The other one is predicated specifically on the essence. The divine nature is specific onto the essence. The human nature is only on the hypostases.
Okay.
If it hang on, if what you're saying is true and this is a contradiction, it would have to be that the human nature is predicate on the essence. That, yes, I would agree with you. That would be a problem, but that's not what we affirm.
Okay. So Jesus, while he's on earth, right? He possesses all wisdom,
Jesus,
correct?
repeating the same thing over and over. Go ahead.
He possesses all wisdom. Yeah, we're gonna have to break it down step by step. So Jesus, while he's on earth, he possesses all wisdom.
Well, his divine nature, yes, all wisdom, all knowledge.
So while he's on earth, he possesses all wisdom, right? But predicated upon his
Here's
human nature, he grows in
Abdulaziz.
wisdom, correct?
What?
Wait, calm down. Just answer my question. Don't just say my name and start speaking over
All
me, okay?
right, no problem.
So while Jesus is on earth, he's all wise, right? He possesses all knowledge. He possesses all possible explanations, possible knowledge that there is, right? But still, he has all wisdom. Yeah, he still grows in wisdom at the same time.
All right, can I answer you now?
Yeah.
All right, no problem. I already know the passage you're getting at when Christ is a child and he increased in wisdom. The church affirms this. The Council of Florence talks about this. That in his human nature, sure, he grew up just like a child. He grew up like this. The infinite knowledge, the omniscience, the omnipresence, all that, he never loses that because it's still predicated on the divine nature. What I'm saying is that he obtained a human nature. He obtained that second one, and that's what was roaming the earth, and we
He
wouldn't
obtained.
affirm. Right?
What does that mean?
Hang on. We wouldn't affirm that he was ever like fully ignorant. The agnatoi, like he was saying, it's qua human onto divine, human
Yes.
qua divine. If it's human, if it's human qua human, then yes, that's a heresy.
Human qua human. Okay, so Jesus, is
So
there
it's
any
it's
sort of
basically
positive ignorance attributed to Jesus' human nature, according to your view?
positive, according to my view.
Yes, according to your view. Is there any sort of positive ignorance that's attributed to Jesus' human nature?
When you are you trying to say divine nature qua human nature or human nature qua human nature?
Jesus' human nature qua.
Oh,
Jesus'
dude,
human
there's no.
nature. Does Jesus' human nature possess any sort of limited capability within his thinking, within his intelligence, within his
If
mind,
you're
within his set
trying
of
to,
knowledge?
Abdulaziz, you're being kind of dishonest. You're trying to bait me into saying yes, but I'm asking you specifics
Okay,
on what you're asking me because I'm
okay,
I'm,
well,
I'm a Thomist. I'm of the Latin right. I'm just like the other guy. If it's human
how's
nature
okay,
qua
so
human, hang on,
no, I did not think
Abdulaziz.
you're
Can I
Thomas.
please finish?
Yeah, I think that's
Abdulaziz.
okay.
If it's
You can
human
answer.
nature qua Abdulaziz, if it's human nature qua human nature, then yes, the agnatoi heresy is there. But what I affirm is the human nature qua divine nature. So no, I would not affirm positive ignorance.
Okay. So Jesus, while he's on earth, he doesn't have any sort of positive ignorance attributed to his human nature?
I just answered that,
Yes,
Abdulaziz.
it's a yes or no. It's a yes or no.
I answered you.
Yes, he has no sort of positive ignorance attributed to his human nature while he's on
I
earth, correct?
answered you, Abdulaziz.
And yet he grows in wisdom. Yet he doesn't know the hour. Yet all the earliest church fathers,
Okay,
all the
beautiful.
earliest church
You just Abdulaziz, you just brought up Mark 13:32.
real quick. So,
All right, no
according to the
problem.
earliest church fathers, according to Irenaeus, according to Tertullian, according to Athanasius, according to Irenaeus, according to all of the early church fathers, even
Okay.
Gregory, the dialogist, he falls into this heresy as well.
Okay.
Did they all believe Jesus was limited in his human nature pertaining to his knowledge and intelligence?
I mean, you named a lot of church fathers, so I don't want to say yes or
So
no,
one
but
by one by
from
one, one by one.
No, Abdulaeez, we don't have to go down this rabbit hole of individual church fathers. Hang on. Hang on, Abdulaeez, please let me respond to what you just said. You said that Jesus didn't know the hour. You just brought up Mark 13:32, so I'd like to respond to that, yeah? So there's a reason we don't affirm that he was ignorant in the sense. And contextually, what he's saying is it's just not for him to reveal. We could go ahead and look at the Greek if you want to. And the reason we also believe this is because in Acts chapter 1, verse 7, Christ specifically says, when asked
Not
about
for
the
you.
hour, hang
Not for you.
on,
No.
Abdulaeez, it's not for
We
you
know.
to
We
know
know.
times or season that the Father has fixed by his own authority. If you know, then why are you making this argument?
No. I know the stupid cope that you have that no early church father ever came to this interpretation. No biblical translation will ever say, "Oh, it is not Jesus." No, no one knows the last hour, nor the angels in heaven, or no one knows the last hour. No man knows the last hour, nor the angels in heaven, nor the Son, or nor the Son to declare whatever, nor the Son, but only the Father. No one ever says this. No biblical translation will ever come up with this idea. So if you're saying that you're more
No
intelligent than
biblical
every single sort
translation.
of biblical translation, can you bring me one biblical translation that says that Jesus, it's not for Jesus to declare, or it's not for Jesus to know?
Yeah, Acts chapter
Beginning of
1,
the
verse 7. I just gave it to you.
so you said
Here,
you
I'll
said the
send it in
Greek
the
word.
side chat.
You said the Greek word can mean to declare, right?
All right,
It
hang
is
on.
not.
Give me a second. Hang on, hang
Okay.
on. The Greek, what I said was the Greek entail. I forgot what word it was. I could find it in my notes, but it entails
Okay.
some form of like deception, like hiding something.
Okay. So you realize there can be a possible interpretation and a probable interpretation, right? Like I'll give you an example. So if
Yeah.
I say I hit the baseball with a bat,
Okay.
right? A probable interpretation is that it's a physical wooden baseball bat, right? But a
Uh
possible
huh.
interpretation is that I grabbed a little bat from a cave and then I whacked it with a baseball, right? So there's a
Okay.
possible interpretation and a probable interpretation. When it comes to
Okay.
when we look at this from a probabilistic scale, when we see that the earliest scribes, I'm reading right here from Bar Ehrman and Bruce Metzger's book, The Transmission, the text of the New Testament, Transmission, Corruption, and Restoration, and the authors, the ones who are the scribes who are writing down these verses, right? They, right here, according to Bruce Metzger and Bar Ehrman, also, and page. Okay, shit. I'm covering the page. Okay, let me just state the exact page so we can read this, and we're going to go
Mm-hmm.
to a probable interpretation other than a possible interpretation, which is what you're coming up with. Okay, so this is page 267 of the book. The text of the New Testament's transmission, corruption, and restoration. Bruce Metzger, Bar Ehrman. He says right here also Jesus' statement, but about that day and hour, no one knows, neither the angels of heaven nor the Son, but only the Father. Matthew 24:36 and Mark 13:32 was unacceptable to scribes who could not reconcile Jesus' ignorance with his divinity, and who saved the situation by simply omitting the phrase "nor the Son." Right? So we see
Okay.
first, like let's put on a scale. Let's put on a probabilistic scale. We weigh on the right side of the scale my evidences. Okay, so first of all, scribes are having problems with this. They cannot reconcile Jesus' ignorance with his divinity. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Not qua, hypostatic, nothing like this. These are the scribes early on who could say, okay, we're trying to say Jesus is God. We're trying to say Jesus has these omni properties. But we see right here, clearly within our scriptures, clearly within the oral traditions that are being passed down to us, clearly from the manuscripts that we've just read and we're trying to rewrite and mass transmit and mass produce, right? We see a problem here. We cannot reconcile Jesus' ignorance with his divinity right here, where Jesus
Mm-hmm.
clearly
Are you gonna
declares that it
bring
is
up
on the last hour.
Ambrose?
Okay. So yeah, we can go to Ambrose as well in his exposition on the Christian faith,
I
where he
knew
says
you were
anyone
about
who
to
reads
bring up
no, we
Ambrose.
can. I wasn't. But we can say, like, yeah, Ambrose clearly had a problem with this as well. He says anyone who reads Mark 13:32 in his exposition on the Christian faith, he says anyone who reads Mark 13:32 as nor the Son, with nor the Son, that the Son does not know the hour, then he is unfolding such blasphemy. All right, so Ambrose says this. So we're just weighing this on a probabilistic scale. Now, when we go to the earliest church fathers, let's go to Irenaeus of Lyons, right? Where Irenaeus of Lyons, you're going to say he's a Trinitarian, right? But he clearly doesn't agree that Jesus was. He doesn't even mention that Jesus was all knowing within his divine nature. He just says that Jesus didn't know. Jesus was not ashamed to ascribe
That's
this
an
knowledge only to the
argument for
Father.
silence.
So the Gnostics, so right here, let's read. Here, nice Leons. The Gnostics presumptuously assume acquaintance with the unspeakable mysteries of God. Remember that even the Lord, the very Son of God, allowed that the Father alone knows the very day and hour of judgment. If then the Son was not ashamed to ascribe the knowledge of that day to the Father only, but declared what was true regarding the matter, neither let us be ashamed to reserve for God those enigmatic questions which come our way. So he says, only this knowledge is with the Father. Right? So Irenaeus of Lyons, only this knowledge is with the Father. Tertullian of Carthage, right here. He has two commentaries where he falls into this agnatoi heresy. Okay, I'm going to go over both of them right here. So 1 second. So not only does he say that Jesus is clearly ignorant of the last hour, right? But right here we can read his commentary on Luke chapter 2, verse 52, where he says Jesus grew in wisdom, right? How can God, we define God as all wise, but how can he
Can
grow
you
in wisdom?
stick on Mark 13:32, please?
Yeah, so we'll stick to Mark 13:32. But I'm saying like two times he falls into this error. So right here, let me get the passage. Okay. And we're looking at a probable interpretation from you, or a possible interpretation from you, and me the most probable interpretation. So if you're going to say all these people, and Irenaeus of Lyons, what is he? He's
Hmm.
taught from Polycarp to John. So John to Polycarp to Irenaeus of Lyons. And he isn't understanding. He has direct apostolic succession. He's the apostolic father, and he doesn't know that Jesus knew all things, and that he just couldn't declare it to his people, but he still had this knowledge within his mind. It doesn't make any sense,
And did
right?
you just say
So we're looking at
Irenaeus isn't all knowing in his divine nature?
no Jesus. Irenaeus doesn't believe Jesus knows has this set of knowledge.
In the
So this
divine
is
nature.
divine nature. He doesn't even mention it. Doesn't mention divine nature. Athanasius makes the distinction. Athanasius says when he was living within the human confinements, obviously he was going to be ignorant, but within the divine nature, he still does possess this knowledge of the
We
last hour.
affirm that, Abdulaeez. There's no problem with that.
You can't affirm that. You
No,
can't affirm that.
hang
You
on,
cannot.
Abdulaez. Hang on, Abdulaziz. I already explained to you. Hang
You
on,
cannot.
Abdulaziz. You've
Bro,
been
we read the
talking for a really long time. Abdulaziz,
I
you've been
know.
talking for
Because
a really long
one person
time.
is bringing up,
Hang on.
so one
Abdulaziz,
person is bringing up
Abdulaziz,
scholarly
Abdulaziz.
content, and I'm reading.
Oh my
Yeah, it's fine.
gosh.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Abdulaziz. Even Augustine that you brought up yourself affirms what I'm saying, that when Christ says in Mark 13:32 that he interprets it saying that he's not to reveal it, that he's not revealing it, it's not for him to reveal. I can show this to you. Give me a second.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so beautiful. I know Augustine's interpretation. I'm saying Augustine's interpretation. Yeah, he agrees
But you
with you,
just
right?
brought up Augustine.
No, I didn't. I bring up Athanasius, bro. What are you
I
talking about?
swear you just said Augustine.
No, cool man, cool man. Did I say Athanasius or did I say Augustine? Oh, I
You
wasn't
said
listening.
Augustine.
Don't hold me, cool man. Did I bring up Athanasius or did I bring up Augustine?
I'm pretty sure I
Um,
heard you say Augustine.
okay.
Here, I sent it in the chat.
I'm positive I said Athanasius, and if Bubba's recording, then yeah, like we can look back on it. That's fine.
Yeah,
But right
that's
here,
fine.
okay. So against Praxis, right? Tertullian against Praxis, right here, where he says the exact same thing. Tertullian, okay,
Oh,
same
that Christ
same thing.
is ignorant in
So
divine nature. Against Praxis in
ignorance, like
chapter
there's no knowledge. Like they didn't even care.
22,
They didn't
right?
understand. They didn't even understand the hypostatic union. Because right here, let's just read what he says. So I just sent the video
Augustine,
where he's
Tertullian
reading the
didn't
context.
understand
Right here.
hypostatic union.
Okay. So I'm saying that he says and declares very clearly that he is also ignorant of the last day and hour, which is known to the Father only. Matthew 24:36. He awards the kingdom to his disciples, as he said it has been appointed to himself by the Father, Luke 22:29. And you can keep reading what if you'd like, okay? I can send you the link. This is against Praxis, where Tertullian says clearly that Jesus does not know the last hour, it's only the Father, okay? So who else? Who
Hmm.
else? Let's go to Irenaeus. So we already saw Irenaeus. Tertullian twice he falls into this heresy. Athanasius. Let's go to Athanasius.
Hang
Where
on, hang
Athanasius
on. You said Tertullian. You said Tertullian falls into the heresy, right? So when
yes.
you say he falls into the heresy, are you still affirming what you affirm, or are you affirming what I affirm when it's divine qua human?
Okay. What, bro? What are you on about?
I
Divine.
already,
Okay. So
I
like,
explained this. I explained this to you. Hey,
first of
look,
all,
right
so
here, right here.
So
1 second, 1 second.
Tertullian falls into the heresy of asserting positive ignorance to Jesus' human nature, right? Where they cannot
Hmm.
reconcile, where the Nestorianism falls into the idea where there's two sets of knowledge being predicated upon one mind of Jesus, or being predicated upon one set of intelligence that Jesus possesses, and they say, okay, the entailment of this belief is gonna be two persons, right? One human, one divine. So they say, and this is not what the Catholics and the Orthodox believe. The Catholics and the Orthodox believe one single person, right, unified with these two natures, right? But when they say like
It
when
is
they
a
say that
person
we're not able to
with two
reconcile this, like
natures.
it's irreconcilable, just like how the early scribes thought it was irreconcilable.
Abdulaziz, you
That Jesus
understand
is
when we
ignorant,
say two
and
natures, we affirm two sets of intellect. We affirm two knowledges
two sets of knowledge. So Jesus knew something and didn't know something at the same time.
in a different sense.
In a different sense. So Jesus, bro, let's just think about this. So Jesus, while he was walking on earth, right? While he was walking on
Oh my
earth, he was
gosh. I
ignorant
already
of something,
answered
and he
this
was walking.
question.
But let's think about it.
Abdulaziz,
Like,
I already answered you.
bro, this is not gonna make sense to anyone. This is not gonna appeal to anyone's fitra. This is like such an irreconcilable doctrine, right? This is why early scribes had problems with it. This is why church fathers had problems explaining it. This is why you needed ecumenical councils that come later on to try and solve this sort of contradiction. This is why in today's day and age, no one can understand it, no one can reconcile it. Then it's just gonna be cope, and it's just gonna be false confidence, is what lets you guys sleep good at night. Okay, so when it comes to Jesus, when he's walking on earth, let's just all envision this. Let's imagine Jesus as a fetus while he's in his mother's belly. He had all possible knowledge, all true knowledge that there is in the heavens and the earth. He possesses the exact same divine attribute that is predicated upon the Father, omniscience. And
Not
whilst at
predicated
the
upon the
same time,
Father.
he's
Hold up.
unknowing and limited in
Hang on.
knowledge, because he
Abdulaziz,
lives
you
in
already
this
made a
body.
mistake there. Abdulaziz, I explained this to you like 3 times. The knowledge of each individual hypostasis isn't predicate on each other, it's a predicate on the essence. The omniscience is predicate on the essence, it's not predicate on the another hypostasis. When we say, right, that the human nature that there's a human nature of Christ that is solely predicated on the hypostases. If it was predicated on the essence, then yeah, we'd have a problem. I've explained this to you. I don't know why you keep saying
Okay,
this thing over and over.
obviously, I don't believe omniscience is predicated upon the essence, bro. I believe omniscience is predicated upon the Son.
Wait,
I believe
what?
omniscience is predicated upon the human nature of Jesus, whilst at the same time, the omniscience is predicated upon
Okay,
Jesus.
whether or not you
Son.
believe it is irrelevant, bro. I
Yeah,
honestly don't even. You just told me that you
right,
believe
it's
that
not gonna make sense.
omniscience
It's
is
not gonna make
predicated.
sense.
Hang
It's not
on,
gonna make sense.
Abdulaeez. Did you just say that you believe that an omniscience is predicate upon the Son and not the
Omniscience,
essence?
Jesus. Yeah, I'm saying it's a predicate. So if you're gonna say the Son is identical to the essence, then the Son is gonna possess this property and quality that's identical to the essence, that's identical to the Father as well. Right?
Or you want to get
I
into
What?
the
know,
Like,
but
Thomas?
are you just
Hang
questioning?
on,
Are you
right
Abdulaziz,
questioning?
now,
Abdulaziz,
it's like
You are
it's
you?
Abdulaziz,
gonna open the hole. We gonna kick.
Abdulaziz. You understand, Abdulaziz? You understand? We affirm there's a
Bro.
distinctions between. There's distinctions between
Why
the
are you
three
questioning me
hypostases.
on
They're not
something like so
identical to
simple,
one
bro? Why are
another.
you questioning me on something so simple? There is
No,
omniscience.
because you're making
Omniscience,
errors between it.
omniscience. Yeah, within your belief, omniscience is predicated upon Jesus, right? Upon his divine nature, right? But
Correct. And
while
the
at the same
divine
time, while
nature,
he's
okay,
walking
beautiful,
around,
beautiful,
he
beautiful.
possesses the
The
human
divine
nature.
nature is predicate on the essence, correct?
Yes.
Okay, okay, beautiful. So the human nature, is it predicate on the essence or the hypostasis?
No. No.
It's on the
The human,
hypostases, right?
it's predicated upon Jesus, right?
On the hypostases, right?
Single person unified by these two natures. This is how the Catholics and the Orthodox
Okay,
define
yes,
it.
yes, on the hypostases, yes. If you're in agreement with this, you understand that you wouldn't be making this silly argument.
That's still the argument, but when I ask
Abdulaziz,
you, when
Abdulaziz,
I bro, like at this point, like I'm like,
Abdulaziz,
okay, like
Abdulaziz.
I'll push back since like you're not even
Abdulaziz, you've been talking for a while. You've been talking for a while. I think you're misunderstanding what we're
yeah,
affirming.
yeah,
Abdulaziz,
yeah.
Abdulaziz,
So is it
Abdulaziz, do you understand?
real
Abdulaziz,
quick, Josh, real
Abdulaziz,
quick, Josh,
do you
we heard your
understand?
reconcilement. We heard your
Bro,
cool,
I've
bro,
barely been
reconcile.
talking. I've been listening to you. I sat here and I listened to you. I didn't interrupt you. I sat here and I listened to you. Abdulaziz, do you understand what the virtual distinctions and real distinctions are when it comes to hypostasis and the essence?
Okay, so real distinction, like so give me an example. So like, what example can we go over? A real distinction pertaining to what?
The hypostasis and the essence.
So a real distinction would be
Hmm.
a distinction in knowledge, a distinction in power, a distinction in mortality or immortality, a distinction in all in these omni properties and these predications upon Jesus. There would be distinction between the human nature and the divine nature, right? That would
Correct.
be mutually exclusive to one another.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah. Okay, so Abdulaziz. So when you say, right, that it's a problem for Christ to be all knowing, right? In the divine nature and human nature, all both of them still on the same hypostases, right? Do you understand the distinctions on what they're predicated on?
Yes, they're predicated upon the personhood of Jesus, right? And are these two sets of
Oh,
knowledge
that's
mutually
the
exclusive to
problem
one
you're
another?
making. That's
They're
the problem
predicated
you're
upon the
making,
they're predicated
Abdulaziz.
upon a single person of Jesus.
Abdulaziz. The problem you're making, right? When you affirm both of them being predicate onto the hypostasis, that's where you're making the error. Okay, I'm going to explain this to you one more time. The omniscience, the divine nature, is predicate on the essence, Abdulaziz. And the human nature is predicate
No,
on the
no one's talking
hypostasis.
about the essence, bro. No
Abdulaziz.
one's.
No,
So we're
Abdulaziz,
talking about the
that's
hypostatic
hang on,
union. We're talking about
please,
the
please.
hypostatic
I
union.
listen to you.
We're not talking about
Abdulaziz,
hypostatic union.
please. Abdulaziz, please. I
Yeah,
listen
bro.
to you. I
Doesn't seem like
listen
you're
to
addressing
you.
the crux of
I
the
am.
argument.
I'm addressing it because that's where you're making the error. The human nature isn't predicate on the essence. There is no human nature onto the essence.
No
It's
shit,
only
bro. No shit. No
okay.
one ever
Okay,
said that. No
beautiful.
shit. Like, there's
Okay,
no way that
beautiful,
you're
beautiful.
repeating this.
Okay, Abdulaziz.
Yeah.
You understand?
Okay,
If
great.
you
Let's take for the
understand,
question.
Abdulaziz, if you understand that, then there is no contradiction because it's in two different senses.
Okay. So Jesus, while he's on earth,
Oh my
does
Is
gosh,
he
this
have
can I
two?
do
cannibalism?
this?
Like,
Is
it's
this
just simple. It's just
cannibalism?
simple. It's just simple. It's just simple. It's just simple. Just shut up. Okay, Josh. Well, Jesus. No
Okay.
one is talking about the essence. No one is talking about the Father and Son are identical to the essence, even though they possess different properties. And something that's true of the Son is not going to be true of the Father. Something that's true of the Father is not going to be true upon the Son. If we look at the Son, just singling out the Son possesses both natures, human and divine,
Correct.
with two
Mm-hmm.
with a set of properties and qualities and attributes that are mutually exclusive to one another. One is predicated upon his divine nature, and what is predicated upon his human nature. And these two sets, then let's go with knowledge. These two sets of knowledge being predicated upon the personhood of Jesus are mutually exclusive to one another. So we're going to have to say Jesus is walking the earth, knowing all possible, having all possible knowledge that there is on this earth and in the heavens, and having the exact same knowledge of that of the Father, whilst having ignorance, whilst being limited, whilst growing in wisdom, and whilst not knowing things like the last hour,
In a
right?
different in a different sense, in a different mode, then yes.
So he knew and didn't know something at the same time.
N- Not necessary. It's in a
Why
different
not?
sense.
Why not? Wait, does
Abdulaziz,
the human nature
Abdulaziz.
take over the divine nature, and the divine nature takes over the human nature?
No, okay,
Like
that's the problem. That's where you're
two things
erroring.
at the same
Abdulaziz.
time, two sets of knowledge at the same time, right? At the same time, Jesus possesses these two sets of knowledge. One set of knowledge doesn't disappear, and then another set of knowledge takes over, and then another set of knowledge
Abdulaziz.
disappears, and another set of knowledge takes over.
That's not how
Two
it
sets of
works.
knowledge being predicated upon the single person of Jesus at the same time. You could say not in the same sense, but like this doesn't do anything for you because we know that this is a contradiction. Jesus cannot know and not know something at the same time.
Okay, no problem, no problem, Abdulaziz. The problem you're affirming is right, is that we don't affirm that what you're saying. It's in for one, it's in two different senses, right? And the all knowing this, that's a great example. Lack of revealing that doesn't mean he doesn't have it. This goes to the same problem, Mark 13:32. In two senses, he has two senses, two natures. So yes, in one sense, all knowing, the other sense, he's not. But
Okay.
lack of revelation doesn't mean that's true. If for example, right, I know that tomorrow you're gonna get hit by a car, and me not telling you doesn't mean I don't know. That just means I didn't tell you.
That's not it. That's not it, bro. That's not an analogous
It is it.
situation.
It is it.
That's
It
not an
is
analogous
analogous.
situation.
It is analogous.
That's not an analogous situation. Bro, that's not an analogous.
Abdulaziz, how do you
That's
know?
not.
Okay, let me ask
Wait,
you
wait.
this because you're
That's
making the
not an
claim.
analogous
Okay,
situation.
no problem.
That's not.
Okay, no
Wait, wait.
problem.
If you told me,
Abdulaziz, Abdulaziz,
wait. Let me give you an analogous situation. If you told me, and if you possess knowledge of me getting in a car crash, right, and you didn't possess this exact same knowledge of me getting in a car crash at the same time, then this would be more analogous to what we see of Jesus. Right? You could say
No
divine
problem.
nature, human nature. It doesn't matter. It doesn't get you out of the contradiction, bro.
Okay,
These words that
Abdulaziz,
Jesus never used, and that Jesus never used, that the earliest generation of disciples, the second generation of disciples, the third generation of disciples never used. Your
are you
Salaf
done?
never used these words. Are not going to reconcile this
My
contradiction,
Salaf?
right, from this idea of a
Wait,
man God.
Abdulaziz, let me ask you something.
Mm.
You're making some bold claims when it comes to the knowledge. Can you demonstrate this from the Bible? That
Yes, yes,
hang on.
Jesus. Yes, yes. Jesus
Listen to
wasn't
my
able to, yes,
question. Listen to my question. Listen to my
yes.
question. Listen to my question. Okay. Can you
Oh wow.
please demonstrate, Abdulaziz? Can you please demonstrate that directly? What you're claiming is the contradiction from the Bible.
Sure. Okay. So we already went over the possible interpretation or probable interpretation. Okay. So I'm just going to put some verses in the side chat.
Oh, yeah, no problem.
Just to comment there. Okay. So we're going to go over every single early church father commentary, and like I want you to say that okay, this church father was ignorant, and I know better, and I know the Greek better, even though I don't speak Greek, and I know the history better, even though I'm not tied to these apostles in any sort of sense, right? And I'm going to go by post hoc reasoning and go by the church fathers that come 500 years after Jesus to reconcile this contradiction that only leads to something completely contradictory to that of the Bible, right? When you're attributing, when you're saying Jesus is divine, has divine wisdom all the time, right? And it was never limited in any sense, even pertaining to his human nature with the knowledge. Okay, so let's go to this verse as well. Let's add some new verses to the mix. All right, give me 1 second. Okay, so just a simple, very detailed argument.
Hmm.
Okay? So
And
Luke
you
chapter 2,
understand what
verse
I mean,
52.
right?
Yeah, please
And
let me answer.
you understand what
Yes,
I
I
mean, right?
understand.
When
I understand.
you said what?
Yes. Yeah, I understand what you mean. I understand what you mean. Prove biblically Jesus does not. Jesus is ignorant within his human nature, or there's any sort
No,
of
that's
ignorance
not
can
what I.
be that can be
Oh my
attributed to Jesus.
gosh! No, no, Abdulaziz. What I'm saying is, you're making the claim that that it's a contradiction because, in the same sense, Christ
No, no,
knows,
you're
is
making
all
a bold
knowing.
claim, bro. You said you're making a
No,
bold claim. Jesus
Abdulaziz,
is
can I
ignorant within the
finish,
Bible.
please?
Oh,
Can
yeah,
I
yeah,
please
bro.
finish?
You just asked me to answer your question, and then now when I start answering
Abdulaziz,
your, and I heard your question word for word
Abdulaziz,
verbatim. gathering my
Okay,
notes.
what was the word for word question I asked
Word
you?
for word
Please steel
question,
man
and
me.
Bubba can repeat it if you want on clip, okay? But
Go
word
ahead.
for word question was, you're making a bold claim about Jesus. Can you prove this from the Bible? Prove what? Prove that Jesus is ignorant in any sense.
I didn't say that. No, no,
Okay,
no.
so
I didn't say
is
that.
Jesus ignorant while he's on earth? Is
Bubba,
Jesus
Bubba,
ignorant?
play back
I'm
the
just asking
video.
you the question. Just
Bubba,
asking
play
you the
back the
question.
video.
Just asking you the
I
question. No,
can't.
no,
It's
no, no.
I
Abdulaziz.
can't. It's a live recording.
You're wasting your
Stupid.
time. You're wasting your time.
Okay,
You're wasting your time.
Abdulaziz,
No,
Abdulaziz,
word for word. I'm
Abdulaziz.
just
I have
asking
it
you the question. I'm gonna
recorded
ask you the
too.
question again. I'm gonna ask you the question again.
Abdulaziz,
Perfectly fine. I'm gonna ask you the
Abdulaziz,
question
let me
again, brother. I'm gonna
clarify.
ask you the
Oh
question.
my
Is
gosh.
Jesus ignorant? Is Jesus
Calm
ignorant?
down.
Wait, bro, I'm asking you the question. I'm
Abdulaziz,
asking the
calm
question.
down, calm down. I asked
Abdulaziz,
you a question.
Josh. So I'm going to ask you the question. So you said that wasn't your question. I'm going to ask you the question. Is Jesus ignorant while he's on earth according to the Bible? Is Jesus ignorant with attributed as human? You can say it's attributed as human nature. That's perfectly fine. Is Jesus ignorant in any way, shape, or form according to the Bible? Yes or no?
Abdulaziz, I
Just yes
answered
or no.
you.
Yes or no. Just yes or no. Let's hear it
Abdulaziz,
again. Just yes or no.
Abdulaziz,
Bro, if you refuse to
Abdulaziz.
answer the simple question, that's the crook of the argument, then there's no point in progressing. Okay? But
Abdulaziz,
there's
I answered
no
your
point in progressing.
question, but if you're gonna force me to use a yes or no, then there's no point of having this dialogue because that's just dishonest. If you're gonna ask me a question, you should be honest enough to let me answer the way I want to answer.
What is the whole argument? What is it? First of all, you told me to go to the Bible. You told me to go to the Bible to prove this
Okay,
belief. You
yes,
said you're
yes,
making a bold claim,
Abdulaziz.
and I
No,
said,
no,
okay,
no, that's not what I
glad
said.
you
Abdulaziz, I have it on
so is
video too.
Jesus ignorant? It's fine. Is Jesus
Abdulaziz,
ignorant?
Abdulaziz, calm
Bro,
down, calm
please,
down. Listen,
yeah.
listen. What I asked you
I'm
was,
being
you made
disingenuous.
the claim,
You're not gonna ask me a
that
question.
we
You're not gonna
affirm.
ask me a question. Okay.
Abdulaziz, calm down for a second. Calm down for a second. Abdulaziz,
Bro.
I asked you to show me from the Bible what you're claiming, the bold claim that you're claiming, right? That Christ is all knowing and not knowing at the same time. That's what
Beautiful,
I asked you. I asked you
beautiful,
that.
beautiful,
I asked you that.
beautiful. Okay,
Omniscience and non-omniscience at the same time. In the
beautiful.
same
Okay.
sense. In the same
Okay.
sense.
Now you're adding on to your question. Now you're adding on to your question. Okay.
No, I'm not
So
adding on to
it
my
doesn't matter in the
question
sense.
because I have
It
it
doesn't
on
matter. It doesn't
video,
matter
and
in the
that's
sense.
what exactly
It
what I
doesn't.
said.
Yeah. Sure. You can go over it if you'd like. Okay. So Jesus, while he's on earth, do we see parts within
I
the
answered
Bible
you.
where he's ignorant? I'm just gonna ask you. Do we see? And if you say yes or
I
no, then
answered
I'm
you,
gonna give you some
Abdulaziz.
answer. So yes, do we see places in the Bible where Jesus is ignorant?
I answered
Yes.
you, Abdulaziz.
I'm assuming yes. Correct.
Abdulaziz, I answered you multiple times the same
Bro. What is this?
question.
What is this? Yo, can someone else answer for him?
Abdulaziz, I answered that question like four times now.
Yeah.
In
So
the same,
yes.
hang on,
Yes.
Abdulaziz.
Yes. So
In
yes.
his human nature, hang on,
Yeah.
Abdulaziz. In his human nature, yes.
Okay. Beautiful. So Jesus, while he's on earth, right? He is ignorant of things, predicated upon his human nature. Correct?
Predicate on the human nature qua divine, yes.
Yeah. Predicated upon
So
the
it's
human
not
nature.
tagnatoy.
Okay. So yes. So predicated upon the human nature, Jesus is limited within his knowledge. He grows in wisdom. He doesn't know certain things. He receives revelation. He receives wisdom. He grows in wisdom, grows in intelligence, right? All these things, right? But at the same exact time, there's no, okay, at one point he was limited and at another point he was unlimited while he's on earth, right? There's nothing like that. At the same time, does he possess all knowledge of all things?
In his divine nature qua, yes.
Okay, so divine nature, human nature. Two mutually exclusive sets of knowledge being predicated upon Jesus, right? So while he's walking around earth, he tells his people he doesn't know the last hour. He tells his people he's growing in wisdom and intelligence, or the people, it's written within the Bible that he's growing in wisdom and growing in knowledge, or not growing in knowledge, but growing in wisdom and stature, right? Earliest church father interpretations say that he's growing in wisdom. His knowledge had stages of growth, right? But at the same time, his knowledge is complete, but his knowledge has stages of growth. So at the same time, his knowledge is complete, it's full. There's no adding to it. There's no adding to God's knowledge. There's no adding to God's intelligence. God is all wise, right? But at the same time, his knowledge has stages of growth. How does this make sense? How does this reconcile? How is this reconciled?
Abdulaziz, I explained this to you like 3 times. It's in 2 different senses. So these 2 sets of knowledge, right? The problem you're making is you're saying that they're both predicate on the hypostasis, on Jesus. That's not what we affirm. I've explained this to you. The human nature itself is predicate on the hypostasis, but the divine nature is predicated fully on the essence. I don't see the
So
problem with that. Do you understand that?
okay,
Do you understand
yeah,
that,
yeah. So
Abdulaziz?
I'll show you the problem. I'll show you the problem. Let's break
Okay,
it
no
down.
problem, no
I'll show
problem.
you the
So, okay, so
problem.
okay, hang on, real quick,
So
Abdulaziz,
hang on,
real
real
quick.
quick. Whenever you start that,
Abdulaziz, real quick. You've been talking for so long. I don't interrupt you. You constantly interrupt me.
stop
30 seconds
complaining,
to
bro.
me
Stop
talking.
complaining.
No,
You
Abdulaziz, I think you're
Abdulaziz,
wasting your time, bro. Joshua like
Abdulaziz, you
repeated them
interrupt me
like
like
10
every
times,
15
bro. You're
seconds.
wasting
Abdulaziz,
you're
Abdulaziz,
wasting your time.
I just answered your question. I said, okay, we're gonna break this down, bro. You say
Abdulaziz. The
something so
Catechism
stupid, and I say
teaches.
let's attack
Hang
it.
on.
You're like, oh shit, I said something so stupid. I can't let him attack this because I know I'm gonna get fumbled, or I
No,
know I'm
okay.
gonna
What's
fumble.
the problem?
And then let me move on to something else.
You
This
haven't
is what happened.
responded to what I said about
What
that a
happened?
single
I said I
time.
understand you. I said I
Abdulaziz.
understand you. I said I understand you. I said I understand you. I said
Okay,
I understand
okay.
you.
Can you
I understand.
respond to
I
that?
understand. I understand you're a coper. I understand you're a cope artist. That's what I understand.
Okay,
Okay.
nice job.
So
Yeah.
possesses all knowledge, and there's a negation saying that Jesus doesn't possess all knowledge and wisdom because he's growing in knowledge and wisdom. There's an affirmation and negation in the same statement, and the same at the same time with the same person. Two sets of knowledge are being predicated upon one person, right? And one is limited and one is unlimited. Well, like this is not like. Why do you think this?
Abdulaziz, there's
Why do you
two
think
natures
describe?
within that one person. Abdulaziz, Abdulaziz.
Why do you
You
think the scribes
understand?
had issues? Why do you think the scribes had issues
Okay,
with this?
Abdulaziz. Whether I don't care why the scribes had issues with that,
I don't
Abdulaziz.
care who wrote my
You
Bible. I don't care
okay?
like who
Hang on.
was like correcting my Bible because I
I
had an
care
error.
about my. Okay, why are you strawmanning me to say that I don't care about my Bible, but I just talking about the scribes? I
Yeah,
hold to the magisterium of the church. The magisterium of the church, right? They teach this as well. The dual nature of Christ and how one nature. Yeah, sure. It says right here. I could read this to you, right? Give me 1 second. I'm gonna read. 1 second. Okay, this is CCC 472. The human soul that the Son of God assumed and is endowed with a true human knowledge. As such, this knowledge could not in itself be unlimited. It was exercised in the historical conditions of his existence in time and space. This is why the Son of God could, when he became man, increase in wisdom and in stature, Luke 2:52, and in favor with God and man, and would even have to inquire for himself about what one in human condition can learn only from experience. This corresponded to the reality of his voluntary emptying of himself and taking the form of a slave. Philippians chapter 2 verse 7 from
yeah, it's kind of
scripture.
it's kenosis. That's kenosis. Okay,
No, the
that's what.
same Bible. Hang on, the same Bible you're attacking me
Yeah, yeah.
on refutes you.
Okay, okay. So beautiful, so beautiful. So when Jesus was on earth, he emptied out certain omni properties.
I wouldn't. Oh my gosh, he
Yeah,
took
yeah,
the form of
I
a
read a
servant.
verse that literally the entailment of reading this, the entailment of the belief that's portrayed within this verse is going to be that Jesus emptied out himself of divine properties. This is why he was limited while he was on earth.
Abdulaziz, when you say
So
emptied
when I
out,
say,
how do you interpret
yeah,
Abdulaziz?
emptied
When you,
out, does not possess
how do you interpret that?
Yeah, yeah, emptied out. So he took a form that, by definition, when he takes his form, he's going to be limited in all these omni properties, and this is how he emptied himself. He was fully omniscient before incarnating and becoming a man. He was fully omniscient, but when he had to take the form of a servant, he emptied himself out. Emptied himself out, like what Philippians chapter 2, verse 5 through 7 says. Right, and this would be kenosis.
Okay,
I
no
don't even think
problem. So
Paul doesn't
that
even have knowledge.
same verse, Abdulaziz, that same verse, right? You're trying to say that he threw away his divine nature in a
What did he
sense.
empty himself from?
That's
What did he empty?
Abdulaziz.
I'm
That
saying he emptied
same
himself out of
verse,
omni properties. What did he empty himself?
Abdulaziz. I'm trying to read
The
this to
answer?
you. Hang
Yeah,
on,
you already read it.
Abdulaziz.
You already read it. I give you my
Hang
explanation.
on,
You
I haven't.
give me an
Let me read
explanation
the
that's
one before. Who, being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used
what?
to his own advantage. He's not throwing it away. It's not like he doesn't have it. He's just not using it.
Okay.
And then
So
by taking the form of a servant,
nice,
being
nice,
made in
nice,
human likeness.
nice. Bro, good distortion of the scripture. Does it say he emptied out? He emptied out this. Okay, but who, though he was in the form of God, did not count equality with God a thing to be grasped, but emptied himself, taking the form of a servant, being born in the likeness of men. So I think a probable
He
interpretation on
made
this verse
himself
is
nothing.
saying he took the likeness of men, right? And when you take
Correct.
the likeness of men, you're going to take the attributes and properties and qualities of the men. And when you have the properties
Correct.
and attributes and the qualities of a man, it's going to be mutually exclusive to the properties and the qualities and the attributes of a god, because by definition God is unlimited, by definition God is omnipotent, by definition God is omniscient, and by definition man isn't these things. So if he empties out these certain properties and qualities and attributes, how then can we go along with the statement that yes, he is fully God while he's on earth? If I poke a bag, so if I say there's a bag of water over there, and then I said the
Mhm.
bag, and I poke the bag, and it empties out all of the water, can I still say that's a bag of water, or can I just say that's a bag. That's an empty bag.
That's not analogous.
How is it not
I don't think
analogous? How is it not analogous?
analogous.
So if I
Because
said,
when he says
let me
Abdulaeez,
make
when he
it
said,
analogous.
you just
Let
asked
me
me
make
a
it analogous.
question. You just asked me a question.
No,
You just
but
asked me a
I'm telling
question.
you, you didn't
You
understand the
just
analogy.
asked me a question and you're not letting me respond.
But you said you didn't understand.
Because
You don't
when he
understand
says
the analogy.
Abdulaeez, when he
Let me
says,
show you how
when
it's perfectly
Paul
analogous.
writes, when
Please, let me
Paul
show you how it's
writes,
perfectly analogous, Josh.
Paul writes,
Okay.
he emptied himself. We don't take that literally. He didn't like like physically empty himself. We don't
So
take
these
that
words don't mean what
literally.
okay, so these words don't
No
mean
one
what they
takes
mean.
these words literally.
No one ever understood like Jesus, like or like no one ever attributed some sort of kenosis belief to Jesus, where like
Okay,
they
no,
believe that
Abdulaeez,
he
no
was
one,
fully
show
human.
me, Abdulaeez. No one takes this literally as in Jesus, God, stopped being God. No one affirms that, okay, he threw away his godliness. What
Okay,
you're saying is
belief.
ridiculous.
This is a belief. This is a belief called kenosis. Okay, kenosis right here in Christian theology. Kenosis. I'll put the link in the bio, just the Wikipedia link. In Christian theology, kenosis, ancient Greek, whatever the hell you say it. Okay, the act of emptying is the self-emptying of Jesus, right? And this is what this is Jesus. A Christian theological term that refers to Jesus self-emptying. It describes the act of Jesus giving up some of his divine nature to become human. Right? This is what people early on believed about Jesus, like pertaining to this verse. I would say Paul just believes in kenosis. Paul doesn't believe in like a hypostatic union where Jesus is fully limited, or limited and unlimited in the same sense, or at the same time. Paul doesn't believe this. I don't think you can get anything from his writings where he does believe this.
So,
Right?
okay. But do you understand what I said, that we don't interpret that as saying that he stopped being God? Even the kenosis, I don't think that
By
affirms
definition, okay.
Abdulaeez.
You
Even
just
the
asked me a question.
kenosis,
You just asked me a question. You just asked me a
they don't
question.
affirm that
You
God
just asked me a
stopped
question.
being God.
Okay. They affirm that God emptied himself and took the form of a servant, and the entailment of this belief is if God
I affirm that
empties out
too.
any sort of divine properties, God cannot be defined as God if he doesn't possess these omni properties and qualities. God cannot be defined as God. So I'll give you an example. So a bag of water. I have a
Him not
bag of water.
Abdulaziz,
I had
him
a
not
bag of water,
using
and
them.
I emptied the
Abdulaziz,
bag of water, and it took the form of an empty bag. Right? Is that
Abdulaziz
empty
again.
bag still? Is that bro? Calm the fuck down. Calm
I'm
down, please.
calm.
Okay.
Abdulaziz again.
Okay. So I'm
Emptying.
saying
We don't
stop
take that
interrupting me when I'm
literally
getting.
as in he stopped having these divine properties. He
So
just
the words
didn't
don't mean what
use
they
them.
actually mean. The entailment of these beliefs don't. It's not an actual true entailment. All the early church fathers who had a problem understanding this, who all fell into this heresy. And then no ifs, ands, or buts. Like
The kenosis.
no, not kenosis, not pretending to kenosis. The church fathers saying that Jesus did not possess this knowledge. While Jesus was on earth, he was limited within his knowledge. And at the same time, I don't care, bro. I don't care like how philosophical you try to be. I don't care how stupid. I don't care about what sort of terminology that you're gonna come to. No one can reconcile this. The early scribes couldn't reconcile this. The church fathers couldn't reconcile this. The ecumenical councils that come later on that says anyone who attributes positive ignorance to Jesus' human nature, they could not reconcile this, right? This is why they said that you're going to profess Nestorianism, right? No one could reconcile this to the point where we have Christians in today saying human qua, divine qua, and then like all this terminology that they don't even understand what they're
Okay,
using,
can you
right?
stop yapping and get to your point, please?
Right,
And
yes,
Paul,
clearly.
100% did affirm
So,
hypostatic union.
no, he didn't. No, he didn't. No, he didn't.
We
Paul was
can
not a
get into
Trinitarian.
that. We can get
Paul was not a
okay.
Trinitarian either. Paul was not a Trinitarian
Okay,
either.
we can get it. We could get
Paul's not
into
a
that
Trinitarian.
after. We can get
Paul at
into
most
that
believes.
after. We can get
Yeah,
into
Paul.
that after. Stop yapping about
Sure,
it. Get to your point.
sure. Okay. So, like, I guess, like at this point, Josh, like us, like, I don't think you're able to answer like this true contradiction where Jesus has
I
all sorts of
answered you.
knowledge at the same time, while he has limited knowledge at the same time. While he's
Abdulaziz, you're
defeated.
Abdulaziz,
Just
you
imagine.
realize you're contradicting yourself when you tell me, Abdulaziz, when I explain to you the difference, the distinctions, that the human nature is predicated on hypostasis, the divine nature is predicated on the essence. When you tell me you understand that, right? You said that. I have it on video. You said you understand that, and you still try to affirm that it's a contradiction because you affirm that it's in the same sense. And then you
Yes,
also
I
say,
understand
hang
your
on,
point.
Abdulaziz, you also literally said you agree with me that two different senses wouldn't entail a contradiction.
No, wait. So when I asked you, when I started questioning about this, and I never said that, right? When I started
You
questioning
did
about
say
this,
that.
like, what? Yeah. So I said no. I said
You just
there's no
said, yeah,
possible
yeah.
way. Well, I'm telling you what I said. I'm saying like, yeah. Okay, I'm telling you what I said. So Jesus, and I told you there can't be two sets of knowledge being predicated upon one person, even if you say that there's two natures
Oh my
attributed to this
gosh. I
one
just
person.
explained
It's
to
not
you,
true. Oh my gosh,
I just
explain all you
explained
want,
to you how the
bro.
knowledges are
Complaining,
predicate.
groaning and
Abdulaziz,
moaning and complaining. Yeah, bro.
Abdulaeez, I just
Why are you
explained to
interrupting?
you,
Why are you interrupting?
Abdulaeez,
Why are you interrupting? Why are you
Abdulaziz,
interrupting when I'm trying to
because you're
explain it?
already contradicting yourself. I explained to you,
Why?
Abdulaziz, I explained to you how the knowledge is a predicate. The divine
Josh,
knowledge is predicate.
Josh, don't interrupt me, bro. Don't interrupt me. You've been complaining about interrupting all this time, and like I let you speak, I let you get your words out. Don't interrupt, okay? So what we went over is something very simple. We see Jesus ignorant within the Bible. At the same time, you're saying that he possessed full knowledge. Okay, I don't care what sort of like nonsense that you try, like sort of terminology that you try using to try and reconcile this. It's just going to be cope. It's just going to be cope. Especially when we look at the earliest scribes who had problems with this. Is why they had to tamper with these verses. Especially when we see church fathers like Ambrose who had problems with this. This is why they said anyone who reads "nor the sun" and like not knowing the hour is unfolding blasphemy. Anyone who reads the Bible like this is unfolding blasphemy. So according to you, or according to him, Ambrose, in his exposition on the Christian faith, you would be reading a book that contains blasphemy if you read Matthew 24:36 or Mark 13:32 as Jesus, as nor the Son, knowing the hour, only the Father, right? Obviously, within the Bible, that we see Jesus growing in wisdom. How are we going to define God as all wise? Right, and at the same time, God possesses all wisdom, right? And Jesus, in the form of a man God, possesses all wisdom and is growing in his wisdom at the same time. Doesn't make any sense. Isn't reconcilable. Isn't understandable. Isn't fathomable, right? How can we say all of these early church fathers, right, that all said Irenaeus doesn't even attribute doesn't even say Jesus has this knowledge within his divine nature. He says Jesus doesn't have this. He only this knowledge is only ascribed to the Father. This knowledge only the Father possesses. Right, and he said this like we should not be shameful of answering like those questions that come to us. Like this is what he says in his commentary on Mark 13:32. So Athanasius, Irenaeus, Tertullian, who else? Even Jerome falls into this. Even Jerome falls into this. Right, Tertullian falls into it twice, right? And many other church fathers that fell into this idea that Jesus, where they assert positive ignorance to Jesus' human nature, whilst trying to say or trying to reconcile, okay, something in Jesus' divine nature, or a set of knowledge being attributed to Jesus' divine nature that says that he's fully omniscient, right? Doesn't make any sense. It's not reconcilable. It's not understandable. It's not fathomable. How's Josh? Like at this point, like bro, we're going in circles.
Abdulaziz, are you done venting? We're going in circles because you affirm something in
We're
one
going in
moment,
circles.
and then you. Oh, okay, can I speak? You just spoke for a while. You vented at me as if you're my wife. I'd like to respond now, because we were on one point and then you jumped to something else. The shotgun fallacy, talking about like 10 different points and not really going anywhere. The
I'll
reason we're
summarize
going in
it.
circles, is because you affirm one thing in one part and then you say no, never mind. And you say, "Oh no, I don't care." You saying, "I don't
Give me
care
an
what you're
example.
going to bring up all these terms." Okay, shut up. Okay, let me ask you this. You agree, and also, by the way, I just think it's so funny how you ask me questions while I'm muted. That's really cute. But anyways, Abdulaziz, let's go back to the
What
original
question?
point.
What question did I ask
Abdulaziz,
you?
let's go back to the original point. Okay, you said you understand what I mean when I say that the human nature is predicate on the hypostases and the divine nature is predicate on the essence. Do you or do you not understand that? That's a question you could go ahead and answer. Just like a quick yes or no, or maybe a minute,
Yeah,
because I know you're
omniscience
gonna
is
get.
predicated on the essence. Yeah, sure. We already agreed to
Okay,
this.
no problem, no problem. Okay, and the human nature is predicate on the hypostases. You understand that?
Yes, bro. We talked about this 10
Okay,
times.
no
Yes,
problem. Okay, no problem, no
hypostatic
problem.
union. This is what we're attacking. We're not attacking
Okay,
anything
no problem.
identical to essence. We're not attacking that Jesus. I never said that Jesus' human nature is identical to the essence. I never said this. I said
Okay,
Jesus,
no
in the
problem,
same
no problem.
time, with the same personhood, has knowledge of everything and has limited knowledge of everything.
Okay,
Right
no
at the same
problem, no
time.
problem. Abdulaziz,
This is the
Abdulaziz,
contradiction,
Abdulaziz.
bro. Essence,
Abdulaziz,
nonsense, bro.
no
Like,
problem, no problem, no problem.
I don't
So,
care. I
okay,
don't care what
okay,
the little.
okay, Abdulaziz, do you understand? Do you understand that two sets of knowledge held by one nature and the other nature at the same time, would that entail a contradiction if it's in two different senses?
It would entail a contradiction because this is at the same time Jesus possesses these two different attributes, or this
Okay, so
two
something.
properties and qualities, two sets of
Okay, no
knowledge at the same
problem.
time. Contradiction.
Okay, no problem, no problem. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Your physical body is limited. It's temporal, like limited by time and space.
Yes.
Okay, and is your spirit limited by time and space?
What do you mean? How do you define my spirit?
Your spirit, then your spirit, like the ghost shit that comes out when you die.
The ghost shit. Yeah. Is my spirit like omnipresent? I don't
Your
think so.
spirit. What? Okay, hang on.
I don't believe my
Hang
spirit is
on,
omnipresent.
hang on. Abdulaziz, when I say your spirit, I'm saying what is going to go to heaven. Is that limited by time and space? Is it
Yes.
limited? It's limited by time and space.
Yes, I wouldn't say it's unlimited. I wouldn't say it exists
Is
outside
it
the realms of time and
temporal?
space. It's temporal. Yes, it's created, or it comes into time. Like it was. It
Is
was
wait,
at
is
one
it
point it wasn't there.
so it's
At one
limited by
point it wasn't there,
space?
and at one point it came in.
So
What
it's
kind of
physical.
space? What kind of space are we
So
talking
it's
about?
physical?
I wouldn't say it's physical.
Oh, it's not physical.
Yes, but it's not. It's not
Okay,
unlimited.
no
It's not
problem, no problem. So you're
omnipresent.
okay, no problem. So you have a physical body that is physical,
Do
and then
you
you
want
have
to
a
see how this
spirit
is not
that's
have
not.
it?
Okay,
Yeah,
can I
yeah. Do you
finish,
want to see
please?
how this have?
Can I finish,
So this
please?
is
Can I finish,
yeah,
please? Can I
yeah,
please
yeah. You want to
finish?
see how
Can
this
I please
is not have?
finish? You
Go ahead.
said your body's physical and your spirit's not physical, and they're both part of you. So explain how that's not a contradiction.
What? Okay, because my spirit, first of all, my spirit isn't my body, right? My spirit is something that's different than my
Oh,
body, distinct than my body.
but they're both part of you. They're both you.
Okay. Do you say
Are
that
they both
Jesus?
you? Yes or no? Are they
Yes,
both you?
yes,
Yes or no?
yes. But the
Yes.
entirety.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm not fully. But
Beautiful,
I'm not 100%.
beautiful,
Wait,
beautiful,
calm down,
beautiful,
calm down, calm down, calm down.
beautiful.
Shut up, bro. Stop screaming. Okay, you're giving me a headache. But I'm not 100% spirit, and I'm not 100% body.